So as we're going through this, you can probably find some general trends in how we prevent disease as well as how we treat disease. So I kind of want to just bring all of those together for you right quick. So really, as far as prevention goes, you want to make sure that everything's kept clean. You want to remove any soiled, urine-soaked bedding, make sure that you're cleaning cages regularly. And you want to make sure that you're removing urine and feces contaminated feed regularly. Some of our small animal friends are not exactly picky where they use the bathroom. So while you might not use the bathroom in your food bowl, some of your small animals might. So you want to make sure that you're cleaning that out. And you also want to make sure that they have fresh water available at all times. You also want to make sure that their environment is nice and healthy for them. You want to make sure that it's free of drafts. You want to eliminate any damp, cool drafts very quickly. You don't really want to set them right next to an air conditioning vent or something like that. You want to make sure that your environment has very low humidity. Lower humidity is better. A lot of times what happens with higher humidity is that that humidity will end up contributing to many of your respiratory diseases. Extra fluid in the air will end up irritating your respiratory diseases. You also want to make sure that your temperature stays constant and it's not fluctuating. I mean, fluctuating, a couple degrees is one thing, but you don't really want it swinging from 60 degrees to 80 degrees and back down again. That's a little bit much. You want to make sure that your environment has adequate ventilation. That'll help remove any stale air. So if you have a ceiling fan in your room or something like that, that's great. And that'll help prevent any respiratory diseases. And then, of course, you want to feed them an appropriate ration. My theory on this is if you feed a really great food that's very good, has very good nutrition to it, it meets all the needs of the animal, and they like it and they eat it, you'll end up preventing a lot of medical issues down the line. As well as far as general treatment goes, sorry, I'm like smacking stuff around. First, you want to make sure that you're isolating your sick animals from other animals, and that will help prevent the spread of disease. You also want to remove and replace any nasty bedding from the cage of a sick animal. And you actually want to keep their cages cleaner when they're sick. You want to maybe bump it up to cleaning their cage every day as opposed to like every other day. That will help get the disease out from their environment. You also want to make sure that you're chemically disinfecting and sanitizing their cage prior to putting new bedding in. You can actually put medicines in their water, and you can actually use that medicated water pretty routinely if the disease is a constant threat. And then you want to use proper treatments and antibiotics if your vet recommends them. If you end up with an animal that dies, you want to make sure that you are disposing of them properly. A lot of times this means burning and burying them, or just making sure that they're buried deep enough into the ground that other animals can't get them. You want to make sure that you're culling animals that do not show any signs of improvement, or removing them from your menagerie. You want to improve your environmental conditions that can be causing the disease. So you want to look at that prevention part and make sure that your environment is appropriate. And then you also want to make sure that you're not breeding animals that might have an inherited disease. And you can always use, there's recommended pesticides to control pests that won't hurt your animals. So you want to make sure that you're using those as opposed to something that might end up hurting your animals. Alright, we will talk about birds and all of their glory in the next video.